Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of FNS Sports Media Podcast. This is episode 29 and the first episode of the new year 2024. In this episode, we're going to be talking about uh, MLB free agency. It's been a little bit since our last episode, and so we're really excited to talk about all the new moves. I'm Cooper.
My name's Aaron.
And let's get right into it. All right, so let's start off with some big names. There's a big name that really dropped and that has been turning the Dodgers into a super team, not just with this name, but the other moves that the Dodgers have made and maybe could make. And this one is going to be that the Dodgers keep rolling after they add Shohei Ohtani. They add Yamamoto. The star Japanese right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto has agreed to terms to join the Los Angeles Dodgers, according to ESPN sources and multiple reports, ending in a frenzied free agency with the largest guarantee to a pitcher in baseball history. Remember this: he hasn't ever pitched in over at America. I mean, technically in the World Baseball Classic, but that doesn't really count. He was awesome there, but you never know. He could just be a total blowout. But they are paying him $325 million for 12 years. What do you think about this ginormous contract?
You know, between Yamamoto and Ohtani, the Dodgers are spending over $1 billion on two players. I think it sounds ridiculous. If I were a Dodgers fan, I'd be really excited.
Yeah.
But for those of us who are not Dodgers fans, it's definitely a sign that, for me, Major League Baseball needs to rethink potentially a salary cap, or it needs to rethink something. It's too big of a deal. Some of those teams can't even afford, like, either of those players are going to get paid more than the payroll of their entire team. And so, I think that it's just crazy for them to spend that amount of money, especially on a guy who, like you said, has never really pitched in America. He could end up being a bust. He could end up being the greatest pitcher of all time also. But, who knows? There's a reason why. These rookies start with a rookie contract.
Yeah.
They work their way up through the minors. They prove themselves, and then they sign a big contract. Obviously, the Dodgers are a team that could afford to have a bust like that. But at the same time, seems like a big risk to me.
Yeah, definitely. And the Dodgers are trying to buy a dynasty, but you never know. Money doesn't buy a whole good team. These players could clash bad, and this could turn out as a disaster for the Dodgers and a financial just catastrophe. But I don't know, if it works, and we're all screwed. But the next one is going to be, they keep on rolling. They add even more. They trade for Tyler Glasnow and outfielder Manuel Margot for right-handed pitcher Ryan Pepiot and outfielder Johnny DeLuca. And then he also, right after that trade, he signs for an extension for $135 million for a 5-year contract. And my mind has just been blown watching the Dodgers just spend and spend and spend. And I'm just like, how do they have this much money?
Well, I just kind of think that, when they sign Ohtani, they sign Yamamoto. I think the expectation in Los Angeles is that every single kid in Japan is now going to be a Dodgers fan.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're just anticipating on signing those two players, making a ton of money that way, and recouping all of the money that they're planning on spending. They say, you got to spend money to make money, and I think the Dodgers are going to put that saying to the test. Glasnow is a good pitcher when he's healthy. I think that's going to be the big question. The big question mark there is, can he stay healthy? Can he pitch more than 120 innings in a season? I think for that kind of money, you're expecting him to take the ball every fifth day and go out and give your team a quality start and make 30 starts in a season, make 35 starts in a season. They're expecting him to take the ball when it's his turn, and to not miss time with an injury, which is something he hasn't been able to do thus far in his career. But When he's healthy, he's great.
Yeah, and another thing is the Rays get Ryan Pepiot, and which was Dodgers one of their top prospects. And if the Rays continue doing their magic with all their prospects and can turn them into Tyler Glasgow, for example, if they could turn him, Ryan Pepiot into a all-star, and I think that they definitely can. Rays could be dangerous, but then again, once Ryan Pepiot gets big and expensive, they're just gonna trade him. So
Yeah, and that's kind of been the way that the Rays work. I think the Rays are also at kind of a crossroads. Also, just after with the whole Wander Franco situation, they finally ponied up money for a player, and then Wander Franco did his thing, and now they're kind of stuck there. I think it's kind of trying to figure out how they can do the Rays need to push the reset button, or is there a way out of that? Who knows? But Pepio is going to be a good player to be able to help with that transition.
yeah, and we're gonna keep going with the Japanese players. The Padres, they signed Yuki Matsui, and it's gonna be a 5-year deal, expected to be worth 28 million. That includes opt-outs after 2026 and 2027, as well as an injury clause that can convert the 5th year of the contract into a club option.
I think it's a good signing for the Padres. Kind of a clear indication that they are not going to bring back Josh Hader, going for the closer. And I think it's a club friendly deal. This is kind of the kind of deal that you were expecting to see when you get a player coming over from a foreign league. Plenty of protection for the team, but also if Matsui performs, that's going to be a very lucrative contract for him as well. $4.5 million a year for a
So the
reliever.
Braves
That's not a
adding to
bad
the superpowered
that's not a bad
team.
deal.
They add Chris Sale in the trade with the Boston Red
That's
Sox.
not going to be a
I
bad
think this was a great
deal.
deal.
If
They
he
traded
comes out
Vaughn
and
Grisham
he's
to get
as good as
Chris
Josh
Sale,
Hader, which I'm
another
not saying
veteran
he's
to
going
add
to be,
with
but
Charlie
if he
Morton.
is, that's going to be
What do you think
great
about this
deal.
deal?
I think it's a great deal for the Red Sox
very
and
little
for,
money
and for the
compared
Braves.
to
The
what
Braves
Josh
are going
Hader
to
is gonna
add
get this free
pitching
agency.
depth. And if he does blow
which,
up and become one of the best
once you get
relievers,
once
he's
you
got
get
that
to the
opt out
playoffs,
in
that's what
26
you
and
really need
27,
to
where
make sure that you can
he's
make
like,
it through
hey,
the
I'm
World
worth more than
Series,
this. I'm going to
pitching,
opt out
pitching,
and
pitching,
hit free agency, and let me get what I'm worth.
and
So
adding
adding
Chris
Chris
Sale,
Sale,
he's
he's not the
deal.
same Chris Sale as he was from previous years. He's getting older, and whatnot, but still brings an experienced arm that's going to help the Red Sox. Or dang it,
You are both
it's
messing.
it's contagious.
Right.
All right, we got this.
Try number like 15 million. So the Braves adding to the superpowered team this offseason, they trade for Chris Sale for Vaughn Grisham to the Boston Red Sox. I think this was a great deal to add another veteran to their rotation with Charlie Morton. If he can stay healthy, this is going to be awesome, especially in the playoffs. That's what they need. They need more guys that can pitch and can take that ball and will be decent enough to get you that win.
Yeah, I think it's a great trade for both teams. The Braves are able to acquire a quality veteran arm, and they're also able to clear out some of the logjam that they have in the infield, trading Vaughn Grisham, a valuable piece, but with the infield that the Braves already have, he's not going to be able to get the playing time that he needs to prove his value. So we'll trade him to the Braves, or trade him from the Braves to the Red Sox, where the Red Sox can really use him. So, I think it's a good trade for both teams. And I really think that this is the kind of trade that the Braves need in order to keep pace with the Dodgers. I know that those are going to be the two teams in the National League that are going to go head to head all season long for the best record. And so anything that Chris Sale is not Yamamoto. He is not Tyler Glasnow. He's not Shohei Ohtani when Ohtani's pitching, but he's going to be good enough to bolster that rotation a little bit to help the Red Sox or the Braves keep pace.
Yeah, and that trade for the Boston Red Sox that freed up that one slot, and they went and filled it with right-hander Lucas Giolito for a 2-year, $38.5 million contract, sources told ESPN.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new for the Red Sox. Getting rid of the veteran free agent in Chris Sale, signing Lucas Giolito, who is a quality arm.
Yeah.
Is a quality arm, and I think that he's somebody that if the Red Sox get to choose between, hey, do we want an aging Chris Sale or do we want the younger Giolito? They'll take Giolito, and then they get Vaughn Grissom thrown in kind of for nothing there. So I think it's a great signing for the Red Sox.
Yeah. And now let's go to the Mets. The Mets added starting pitcher in a deal with the Brewers and then signed Harrison Bader for the outfield help.
Woo! If you're a Mets fan, you got to be super excited about this, right? Woo! You know, if you would have told these Mets fans that, hey, your biggest free agent signings this year are going to be, what's this guy's name? Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor and Harrison Bader, and those are going to be the three players that you add to your team. Man, they'd have to be just thinking, hey, we're already on the way to the World Series, right? No, man, that stinks for the Mets. You know, the Mets thought that they were in on Ohtani. They thought that they were in on Yamamoto. They think that they're in on all of these players, and they end up with Adrian Hauser, Tyrone Taylor, and Harrison Bader.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Bader, he's on with a 1-year deal, $10.5 million contract. He's getting a little bit older. He's not as good as he once was when he was a little bit younger. But if it works out, and I hope it does just for the sake of the Mets fans, I hope it does, because the Mets team and Mets fans are just like, what has happened?
I will say though, you know, you and I know Harrison Bader because, you know, we followed him ever since he was young as a Cardinal. He's not that old. He was college teammates with Pete Alonso, and things like that. They've been, you know, from their time in the University of Florida, they've been together. He's not that old of a guy. He just needs he didn't translate over to the Yankees real well. But I think that he's going to fit in really well with the Mets. I think Harrison Bader plays great defense. I think he plays great defense, and I think he's going to feel a little bit more comfortable having a guy like Pete Alonso that he's real comfortable with on his team with him. When the star player on that team has your back, it gives you more confidence when you go through a little bit of a slump. You don't have to worry about it. You know that the best player on your team is coming over and he's got your back. You know, it helps you through that. So I anticipate Harrison Bader having a much better season this year than he had in New York.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go to the Pirates. The Pirates re-sign Andrew McCutchen. He's 1 home run away from 300, and think it'd be awesome when he gets 300. Great for the veteran. Great for him, great for his family, great for everyone around him. And then they also signed Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah, I think Pirates are one of those teams that doesn't have the budget. Doesn't have the budget of some of those other bigger teams, and they've got to do the things that they need to do. Signing some of these lower end guys. Not that Rowdy Tellez is a low end guy, but he's not like the star power, that some other teams are looking for. But he's going to fill a role. He's going to fill a role for the Pirates. And that's what the Pirates are needing right now, is just role player guys that can just fill a role and help the team improve and be competitive. I think it's also great for them to sign McCutchen. I know McCutchen played portions of his career with other teams, but you know, he's in the twilight of his career. And when we think about Andrew McCutchen 5 years, 10 years after he retires, you're always going to have that image of him playing for the Pirates. And so it'll be great for him to get 300 home runs. As a Pirate, unless he has a Tim Anderson season where he just all of a sudden can't hit any more home runs.
Tim Anderson got 1 home run over the season.
He did get one. So as long as McCutchen gets that 1 home run, I think it'll be great for, like you said, it'll be great for everybody.
Yeah, kind of like that. Albert Pujols returning back to that home team. I mean, Andrew McCutchen was still on that team, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the reigning National League champions. Almost winning the World Series, not really, but almost. The D-backs, they re-signed Lourdes Gurriel Jr. I think this is a great signing. He was playing pretty good for them last season, and just to add more team to that National League, as I said, National League champion, and because they signed Eduardo Rodriguez, and I think that adding even more star power. He's not one of those top guys, but he's pretty good, and he's going to fill that left field role.
Yeah, and so, you know, the D-backs didn't want to lose him. The D-backs didn't want to lose him. He was hitting free agency. He played an important role for them in their run to the World Series this year. I think he's a good fit. It's at a good price point.
Yeah, get that purple hair flying everywhere. The Detroit Tigers, they signed Cardinals favorite, thought he was going to be an ace, Jack Flaherty for their starting staff on a 1 year, $14 million contract.
Um, good spot for Flaherty to land. Kind of under the radar a little bit in Detroit. He gets a 1 year prove it deal, where he can come back and be like, hey, this pitcher that I've become over the last 2 years, that's not who I really am. I've got this 1 year, with a team that's, maybe trying to put a little pressure in on the Central, but it's not in the spotlight or anything like that. He can just go out and be himself, and try to earn a bigger deal at the end of this season, heading into 2025.
Yeah, I feel like this next one pretty big. The Tyler Mahle signs with the Texas Rangers for a 2 year deal. I'm kind of worried because he did have Tommy John, and they already have those other guys. Uh, Jacob DeGrom, he's still injured, but Tyler Mahle should return a little bit later in the season. But when he does return, he could be a great addition for that kind of weak, but still won the World Series rotation.
Yeah, I think, he had, like you said, he had the Tommy John surgery, in May of this year, became a free agent, and kind of just flew under everybody's radar when he hadn't pitched for so long, and then he's going to miss the beginning of the season. You don't really think about it, but he was real strong in Cincinnati, was having a good season, with the Twins last year as well. So I think it's a great signing for the Rangers. It would be just kind of like, in addition to signing him, you get that little push, in the middle of the season, almost like a trade deadline pickup or something like that. So I think it'll be great. I think Molly's a great pitcher. I like him a lot. I think that he'll do great in Texas.
Yeah. The Brewers, they acquired reliever from the Royals. The Milwaukee Brewers have received right-handed reliever Taylor Clark from the Kansas City Royals for right-handed reliever Ryan Brady and infielder Cam Devani. I'm just like, oh, okay. Hopefully that he does something, but I'm not expecting him. Not expecting to hear anything about him. Not expecting for us to talk about him on this podcast. But hey, you never know.
Well, I think it's just one of those situations where it's like, hey, we've got these guys. We don't really need them. You kind of need these guys to fill in a spot on your rotation. I mean, I don't think that or in their lineup, I don't think any of these guys are going to be game changers, but just kind of a, hey, what do you think about this? Just kind of shaking things up, trying to find a need. You need to have a complete lineup, a complete rotation, a complete bullpen, and sometimes somebody in the back end of somebody else's team's got something that you need, to fit yours. And this feels like not a splash signing for either team, but just making sure that they have the pieces they need to start the season.
Yeah. Now the Giants. The Giants have never in a while signed a big time free agency. Man, I could just list off like not hundreds, but lots of names. Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Carlos Correa. Like it feels like Giants fans are just crying right now, just like the Mets fans. But no, they signed not exactly big, but it's pretty big for Giants. They landed Havio outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee on a 6 year, $113 million deal that has an opt-out after 4 seasons. I think this is a great deal. Maybe he turns out. I mean, he was pretty good for in Team Japan. He hit a few home runs. His swing looked great, and I'm hoping that he can help the Giants maybe get a little bit higher in their division.
Yeah, coming over from the Korean League, I think that he'll be a great fit, in San Francisco, and I think that the Giants fans can finally, like you said, rejoice a little bit at landing one of the prized free agents.
Yeah, now let's talk about the Royals. The Royals have signed like a few guys. It was crazy. They have bolstered their now rotation and now bullpen. They signed Seth Lugo in a 3 year, $45 million contract. They have also signed Michael Wacha in for 2 years, $32 million. The Royals also agreed to terms with outfielder Hunter Renfroe on a 2 year, $13 million. And then on top of that, they signed left-handed reliever Will Smith for a 1 year, $5 million contract.
Uh, I'm not quite sure what to think here because this is very uncharacteristic of the Royals
Yeah.
to go out and spend money. Seth Lugo, Michael Waka, those were both names that I was kind of hoping that the Cardinals would be in on.
Mhm.
You don't expect the Royals to go out and sign some of those big, not big, but like bigger money free agents or whatnot. I don't think the Royals are going anywhere. I don't
Probably
think
not.
they're not going to be a team that contends for a playoff spot or anything like that. But just looking at these names that they're signing right there, it doesn't take a whole lot to improve their lineup and their roster from last season. The Royals were terrible, and so these, while they're not superstars. They're making a good effort to actually become a decent team again. Makes me sort of think that the owners are looking to try to get a new stadium there in Kansas City.
Try to convince fans.
Trying to convince some fans that hey, give us something, we'll give you something. And so trying to generate a little bit of buzz in Kansas City ahead of trying to get that new stadium. So maybe that's what it is. But either way, good for the Royals on going out and spending some money. Good for some fans. We spent some time in the Kansas City area this summer. We visited Kauffman Stadium. I loved it a lot. I loved the environment there and everything else. So it'll be great for Kansas City to have a somewhat competitive team again.
Yeah, it would be great for the fans. Maybe feel like they're actually winning. All right, let's take a break from the podcast and let's talk about the sponsor of this today's video. This video is sponsored by Family is Awesome, the YouTube channel. If you're looking for fun and family-friendly content, check out their channel at family_is_awesome. We'll put in a link in the description below and check them out. They're awesome. Special thanks to The Athletic, ESPN.com, and MLB.com for all the information and articles. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we have new episodes, and we'll see you guys later.